This is another tool that I've built. This is the Git Deploy Helper, trying to make it a little easier to build out and deploy the Git repos as they evolve. This one has a command line interface, it has an API interface, and it has a graphical user interface through the web. Written in PHP 8, currently running on an 8.4. Composer, using in physical, using a GitHub personal access token, and SSH to connect to the individual servers. Okay, here we have the application. So we can punch in the IP address of a server. Let's see, we'll use one of the existing ones. Username and password. And once we do that, that's going to try to connect to that box. So then, for example, we can come here and we can say that our deploy is going to be in the home folder, and then we hit browse, and it gives us an actual listing of what the current home folder entries look like. So if we pick one of these, looks like we now have a SSH part we can specify too. I suppose that could be important, but probably at some point I'll just stick it up in the IP address field, :22 kind of thing. So since we selected this folder, it automatically goes into that folder and checks to see if it already has a Git repo, which it does associated with it, and then it automatically pulls the Git repo down here. If we were instead to put in a brand new folder, it would then create that brand new folder on deploy, and it still has the previous selection. When we go to text, it says you already have something, do you want to overwrite it? It will say yes. So this directory does not exist. So technically, we should probably reset it to something like this when you change the value to something that doesn't exist, but we'll get there. So then this is using the Git pat, the private access token, to connect out to my Git repo and pull all of my personal repos that are associated with my account, so that I can pull one of these and add it to the target list. So successfully added, here it is, level 3, audio API. So once you've filled out all of this on this side, then you can see the entries over here. So if we take this latest one, it has nothing there yet. If we hit deploy, it'll automatically look at the repo that I selected, which is /audio API, and currently the main branch, the stable branch, is the only one available. So we can confirm deployment and deploy that. In this case, this was a piece of nonsense that I put in. We can see the settings here and modify them, and we can delete the record. Yes, we're going to delete it because that one's not useful to us. Here's the 0 tier. As you see here, this one has already been deployed, so it's disabled because the only branch available to us is one that's already been deployed. We come here to the instance tracker, and as you see, the main is currently deployed, so the only other option we have is the tagged release, which is 0.20. That is an older release, and it should successfully install it, even though it is older than the current version that's out there. Then for Git help, that's this particular application. You can actually use this application to update itself. In this case, we would be stepping back a couple days worth of versioning, but it is possible to actually overwrite this from itself. Then this one, again, nothing to do because it currently has the latest version of itself, of the main repo, which is all unavailable. Same there. I believe this last one, though, yes, this last one has a branch that's newer than the current main deploy. Default stable branch. Huh. That's interesting. We'll have to look at that. Anyway, technically we should have 3 listings here. We should have the tagged release 2.1.6. We should then have main, which should be the current disabled one that's actively deployed, one that's currently out there. And then we should have this branch, and it'll only show branches if they're newer in timestamp than main. So I'm going to double check and see what the repo status is on that last one just to see what it's like. But this is the Git Deploy Helper. And if the folder doesn't exist that you specify, it's supposed to create it and then deploy to it. If it does exist, then it will deploy into it if it's empty. If it does exist and it has a .git in it, it will check to see if that .git matches what you've selected. If it does, it'll deploy. If it doesn't match, it'll throw an error. If there's other files in the folder, but it doesn't have a .git, it'll throw an error because it doesn't want to be overwriting existing content. And there's a handful of features yet to add, but this gives us the basics and lets us create a feature branch, and it'll let us do a quick deploy of a feature branch where we're testing something out before merging it with main.